Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a video on how to cook St. Louis style pork ribs. I want to show you guys how I make a whole bunch at a time, and then at a certain time in the cooking and smoking process you can stop, cut them in half and freeze them, and then you can pull them out of the freezer, thaw them, and cook them alongside whatever else you're grilling in the future, and have a whole bunch stockpiled in the freezer. So I like to do that. We're going to be doing St. Louis style ribs this day, which is a version of the spare rib, and I'm going to show you the difference in those. And we're going to make a dry rub first. I need a whole bunch of my extra dry rub that I like to make for this kind of product. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to smoke up a whole bunch of St. Louis style ribs. So thanks for watching. So the first thing I'm going to do, like I just spoke about, is make a nice dry rub. This is one I call Payne County Bark. It is not for sale in stores or online yet. I will probably market it someday because it's been so successful with all my friends and family and people that I've sent it to. It is a competition style dry rub. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm putting a few ingredients over in the bowl, and then I'm adding oil. Oil is used in this case as something called an antiflocculant. I put it in at about 1% or 2% of final weight of the dry rub. And what it does is it coats those particles with a microscopic layer of oil, and then the really, really fine seasonings and spices that you add to that dry rub will stick to the larger ones. The purpose in doing that is when you put that in a bottle later and shake it a bunch, you won't get any separation between your large and small particles. You won't see all the large stuff kind of floating to the top like happens with some of those cheaper seasonings you buy at the store. That's called flocculation whenever it stratifies like that. And then at the end of the bottle, whenever you're sprinkling it on your product, you're only getting 1 or 2 seasonings or spices rather than the whole blend as a consistency. You can see how nice and consistent this is, and it will stay like that even if you put it in a bottle and shake it because of that oil. Bottle it up, put some labels on it, and I'll have enough to do for a while. I like this one on pork, and I like this one on chicken. I like it on brisket. I like it on just about everything. It is my competition style dry rub, hence the name Bark. It's just a really, really good one. Just like always, I'm gonna start the fire with some paper towels and a little bit of cooking oil. Use it as a big candle down there and get that pecan wood going. And I always like to scrape off all the past barbecue remains from, I just barbecued a few days ago, so I like to clean it off with a poly bristle brush and some oil and some paper towels and just get it clean. And then I like to bring that smoker up to a high temperature to sanitize. And while that's happening, because it can take about an hour, we'll prep these ribs. We're going to do, I think, 6 racks today, so we got to get them prepped the way I like to. This is a St. Louis style rib. It's my favorite to cook. It's a part of the spare rib, so it comes from the lower part of the rib cage down near the sternum, versus a baby back rib that comes from the top part of the hog up underneath the loins. So these St. Louis style ribs, you can buy them like this already cut St. Louis style, which is what this one is. And I'll show you how I prep these. Then I'll show you how to make a St. Louis rack from a spare rib rack after this. So there's that flap right there. That's where the diaphragm was in the hog that separated the thoracic organs from its lower organs like the stomach and stuff like that. That was the diaphragm, so I always cut that off. And then there's this membrane on the inside of the ribs that we'll take off also. People argue quite a bit and have really strong opinions on whether or not you should remove that membrane right there on those ribs. I always do, not because it's so tough, which it is, because that doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're smoking a rack of ribs for 5 hours, that's going to render and become soft. It's just that with that real strong membrane on there, I'm positive that none of the smoke or dry rub is going to get into that meat. I just know it has to make a pretty impermeable membrane to those seasonings. So I just go ahead and pull it off. You just kind of work a butter knife under there and fight with it with a paper towel, pull it off. On spare ribs, see how tough that is? It's just like rope. On spare ribs, it's harder to pull that membrane off than it is on baby back ribs for some reason, so you have to fight with it a little bit. So here's a full rack of spare ribs. You'll notice it's quite a bit larger than the St. Louis, but it's the same cut of meat. It just has the sternum still on there, also called the rib tip. That's the part on the top right now up there. Same thing, pull that membrane off and fight with it with a paper towel and get that little flap off there. And you count about 4 bones over. That should be your longest bone. And cut straight across there. And it cuts that rib tip off, or that sternum piece with all those cartilage pieces and things like that. I just prefer a St. Louis style cut, so I'm showing you how you can make them if you get spare ribs on sale, or if you just didn't know the difference in a St. Louis and a spare rib. There's the rib tip, and you can cook it if you like. So what we're left with is the same thing that we bought as a St. Louis style cut. You can see them right next to each other. They're the same thing. Just get it trimmed up here. Like I said, we're going to be cooking 6 of these today, and we're going to make them so that, except for the very last step, see, there's 2 St. Louis racks now. Except for the very last step, these will be smoked and braised and ready to go in the freezer so that we can pull them out in the future and do the last step, which is grilling them. Here's some of that bark. I'm going to put it on here real evenly on both sides, and I'll do all 6 racks this way and get them ready to go into the smoker. You can do this the night before. There's probably a small advantage to it. I've never done a side-by-side test, but I don't ever really remember noticing a big difference between letting it dry brine overnight. Maybe if you got your ribs fresh from the butcher and they hadn't been sitting in any sort of saline solution, then this would help. Because, most of the ribs you buy from the store in a package have been sitting in a percentage of saline, which will make them salty all the way through, which is good. So that temperature's come up to a high heat, 325, 350 there. Nice and sanitary in there now. And I'll open these doors and load these ribs and let that temperature come down to a 250 to 275 mark, and that'll be perfect for what we want to do with these ribs for 2.5, 3 hours of smoke. Put them to bed. So I like to smoke between 250 and 260. I arrange my thermometer to where the needle is straight up when it's at the right temp. Of course, we had a rain cloud come over, just making sure my temp is where it needs to be. Ribs are a fairly quick cook. 5 or 6 hours in total is the way I like to do it. So we're about 2 hours, 2.5 hours in, and you can see that crust has developed. So if I drag my fingernail like this across the back, that dry rub does not come off. Now it's safe, that means, to wet mop it. And I'm using my Oklahoma style marinade. It gives a nice color, and it actually imparts a flavor, which just water doesn't. I prefer a wet mop that adds a little bit of flavor while you're moistening the top of that crust. So we're probably about 3 hours now. That's generally when you're not going to get much more done in the smoker. So I double wrap them in aluminum foil with Hogsbane barbecue sauce or just a good sweet barbecue sauce, meat side down, so it gets nice and tender, and throw them back in the smoker. I think maybe an hour and a half or 2 is generally what it takes. It depends on your cooking temperature. But the best thing to do is open them up like this and take a probe thermometer and just feel what the meat is like between those bones. It'll be nice and tender when they're done. I like them really done. I like them really soft, so I wait till it feels like just butter or mashed potatoes when that skewer goes in there, and these do. Generally, that's around 203 or 4 or 5 degrees, just over the 200 mark, but just pull each packet off and test it. And sometimes several packets will be done at once, and sometimes one will take 15 or 20 more minutes in the smoker to get nice and tender. So this one's rested a couple hours, just sitting on the stovetop in there, and it's ready to cut. All that collagen is set back up inside the product, so we'll have a nice juicy product ready for the freezer. I like to cut them in half so they fit nicely in a vacuum seal bag or a freezer Ziploc bag. Because remember, these ribs still need one more step where when you're ready to cook them the day of, when you've pulled them out of the freezer later and thawed them to go alongside your shrimp or your burgers or whatever you're cooking, you let them thaw, put a nice barbecue sauce on them, and throw them on the grill and get them nice and burnt and crispy and crusty, or however you like them. I like that barbecue sauce kind of charred on there, and that's the last step. So we're just going to pop these in some cheap vacuum seal bags. I like them when they're already sealed on 3 sides like this. This size is about right for me because you can put steaks or burgers or brisket or whatever in there, and it fits a half rack of ribs really nicely too. Then all you have to do is vacuum seal them or Ziploc them if you're using zip top bags, and throw them in the freezer, and you will have them all winter long or summer long. It's a great thing to have in the fridge because that's a great side item whenever you're grilling for people. So anyway, that's how I do it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.